Welcome, everybody, to the second workshop on shared visual representations in human and machine intelligence. That is operating under the NeurIPS umbrella the second year, and they've been very kind to help us organize all of this. And we're just kind of welcoming all of you here today, and we're really excited in this kind of virtual get together. So before anything, we want to thank our sponsors. CBMM. I'll introduce Chris later today. Is going to help us out during the day. NSF, MIT Quest, NVIDIA, and Oculus Research. Now Facebook Reality Labs, actually, or also known as Facebook Reality Labs. Okay, so let's see. So just kind of on behalf of the organizers, once again, yours truly, Josh Peterson, Ratan, and Tom Griffiths. We really want to thank all of you for being here. I think it's great that even in this virtual world we're still all together, and even if you're not here right now, you can look at the video later and kind of still feel like you're here with all of us. So really, we're really thankful that you're here joining us in the event today, whether it's partially or during the whole duration of the event. So looking forward to it. So just kind of a quick overview of what this is about. Really, it's just the intersection of studying visual representations in humans and machines. And for a while now, the organizing committee, and I'm sure many of you have been wanting to have a meeting, a conference, a workshop, or some sort of venue where people can discuss these ideas without being just kind of alienated or looked in a bizarre, weird way. And because I'm sure that was maybe the case of some, if not all of us, at some point, whether it's very early or late in our careers. So really, this is a space where we wanted to bring as many psychologists, cognitive scientists, engineers, just all together, mathematicians, neuroscientists, and applied physicists, to just talk about this kind of new discipline, this remarriage really of a discipline that's been around or should have been around for longer. It's kind of diverged for a while. So that really is SVRHM. Okay, so just to kind of not steal anyone's time for the speakers that are going to start with the show in about 8 or 9 minutes. This is some stats that we had from last year that I just thought I'd just kind of briefly go over, and then do a contrast with some new stats from this year. And I'm very against having just words in any slide, but I think really because it's stats, it's probably the best way to just kind of go over these things. So last year we had 19 papers accepted out of 30. That was a 63.3% accept rate, which for a workshop in NeurIPS is probably around the standard. 10 out of 19 papers had at least one woman as an author. For those curious, in NeurIPS main conference, the actual acceptance rate is likely about it oscillates between 20 and 25%, by the way. As a third point, last year, again, this is last year, we had 2 reviewers per paper. There were a total of 30 reviewers. Again, last year was the first edition. Speakers and panelists, we had 6 faculty, 6 grad students, 2 speakers from industry. They are both from DeepMind, I believe, and 1 postdoc. And finally, sponsor information from last year. Again, we had more sponsors, for better for worse, because it was in person an event, and you have money to spend, and we could kind of get more people involved. There were 4 academic institutions and 4 research companies involved, so we had 8 sponsors. Now the situation has changed in different ways. Not really for the worse, but everything has been actually quite positive. We wish we would have had more sponsors, but again, it's hard sometimes to get people or companies or institutions involved if there's not a specific spending amount. For example, for a huge cocktail party at the end, just to kind of give some examples, or travel grants. That was one of the main things that many sponsored helped us last year. But this year, the acceptance rate bumped just a bit, 72.5%. So 29 out of 40 submissions got accepted. Overall, though, this is kind of an informal thing. I'm very likely biased as someone in the organization committee. I was not a reviewer, but the word of mouth said that despite the acceptance rate went a bit higher, the quality of all the submitted papers was significantly greater from the papers accepted last year. Not that the papers accepted last year were not great; they were all spectacular. And in fact, I'm going to close on that on where they are now. But the papers submitted and accepted this year were actually very good, almost conference status. 12 of 29 papers had at least one woman as an author, and actually half of the oral presentations, which are the top 10 of the accepted papers, of all the presented papers, So these are the highest scoring ones. Half of them had at least one woman as a first author. The majority of papers, with exception of just 2 or 3, had 3 reviewers. So this is great. Now we have 63 reviewers, speakers and panelists, 8 faculty this time, 4 grad students, 1 speaker in industry, it's time from Google Brain, and 3 postdocs. So now there's actually a bit more visibility, I believe, for the grad students as well. Chris is going to be here. He's going to be helping out a lot. And maybe you can say hi, Chris, just for a bit. He's going to be asynchronously helping us throughout the day. He's the director of technology here at MIT CBMM, and he's really the man behind the scene who's going to help us kind of carry this workshop virtually. So I'm just kind of anticipating. Thank you, Chris, for being here with us today and helping us run the show. And all the videos will be posted on the CBMM YouTube website. For whatever reason, you have to go to the bathroom, you miss a minute or something, it'll be online. Okay. New changes. We've added nationalities and citizenship flags just to kind of make a bit more, give some more visibility to the community. Sometimes people don't know or wonder where a speaker is from. My advisor, Miguel, for example, is from Argentina. Maybe no one would have guessed given his last name. There's many people who don't know that Alyosha is Russian, for example. There's people with dual citizenship like Martin Hebert, who will speak in a bit. So really, we have a very diverse set of speakers, reviewers, authors in general, and I'm really proud of this. We literally have people from all the continents, from all over the world speaking today, and I think this is a very, this is a great situation, privileged position to be in with so many different points of view, and this is great. Okay, and we expect to kind of keep going in this direction as well. And you can check out all the speaker list again in the main website. Something else we've done from last year is we switched from Microsoft CMT to Open Review. So all the reviews are public for the accepted papers. We've made some exceptions for the papers that did not get accepted in case of conflict of interest or whatnot. I suggest everyone, if at some point someone wants to make a workshop or it's a coffee for the morning, or a conference, use Open Review. Even for myself, it helped me a lot because, some people say, oh, Arturo has a paper accepted. He knows who the reviewers are. And actually, Open Review makes sure that even if you're a program chair, you don't know who's reviewing your paper. So as a fun fact, I actually had 1 paper accepted and 1 rejected. And I don't even know who the reviewers are. And that's kind of great. So I really encourage all of you to use Open Review if at some point someone's interested in doing something like this. We extended the page limit of the papers from 5 pages to 6 for the camera ready, for example, and submission was before 4 pages, so now it's 5. And now for next year, we're going to include a short rebuttal phase for SVRHM 2021. And people were very vocal about this in a very positive way. So I think we're kind of, going in a positive route. New changes again. We have a gather town that's going to be all day. It's a social. No posters are going to be presented. If you want to chat with colleagues, friends, just stop by, go there. I don't even think you need a NERPS registration. You can just click on the links are available here in the website, and you can just put your name, and you'll find people there. I was the only person there yesterday debugging the program, so it looks kind of like an 8-bit Pokemon world, and it's pretty amazing. It's great, so you should try it out. And it's going to be again available all day. Fun facts: first iteration to have again invited talks or orals for the highest scoring papers. These are 4 papers. The speakers who are now invited again, it will speak later today. Robert Gatos, Aviv Netanyahu, Salman Khan, and Melanie Skler from different institutions from around the world. And again, these are the 4 highest scoring papers, 2 of which will win an award that we'll announce at the end of the evening. 2 invited talks or orals, so half of them actually have first author as a woman, and I think this is great. It's like it's essentially maybe in other workshops all the first authors of the orals would have been just men, and I think it's kind of great that we don't see this type of bias anymore, and it's not something that we even directly enforce, right? This just happened to be the case that the highest scoring papers were actually very well executed by first women authors that we're going to be speaking about later today. And other fun facts, 2 accepted papers were single authors. Again, so I don't know how common this is for workshops, but these are 2 papers that, again, you guys are more than welcome to see in the workshop. Just to kind of recap who the authors were: Aviv Netanyahu, Melanie Sklar, and for the first author papers, Alexandra Garcia, Shashikant Gupta. And sorry that I'm rushing. I realize I only have 5 more minutes, and there's so much more things I want to say for the fun facts and the people around here. Other fun fact: 1 accepted paper with an undergraduate as first author. someone who still doesn't have a bachelor's degree, Ilian Malkin, in a paper by yours truly, also presenting later today as a poster. Other fun facts, 2 accepted papers with an undergraduate as a co-author, Sebastian Bujia from the paper previously first authored by Melanie Sklar from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and 2 other undergraduates as co-authors from Istanbul and Ankara, Turkey, Muhammed Samila Tezgoglu and Shagatay Yigit. And their co-authors were also still undergraduates. Other fun facts, 2 accepted papers with a master's student as a first author. Again, Shashikant Gupta, first author and is a master's student, and Johannes Singer from Martin Hebart's group, who will speak in just a minute or so. So I want to, maybe it's not obvious, but I want to congratulate really everyone who I'm mentioning right now implicitly. If we had more awards, we would just be, applauding and for everyone just kind of giving them more recognition than I'm just kind of saying right now. Other fun facts, impact from papers from previous years of SVRHM. So this is a paper, how convolutional neural network architectures biases learned opponents in color tuning, that was nominated a Best Paper Award in SVRHM last year and got published this year at Neural Computation. This is by Ethan Harris, Daniela Mihai, and Jonathan Hare. Another paper that this year probably exploded and is very well known, Origins and Prevalence of Texture Bias in CNNs, Catherine Herman, Ting Cheng, Simon Kornblith. That was Best Poster Award last year in SVRHM. And also very quickly, this paper that won Best Paper Award of SVRHM, 5 points to check with comparing visual perception in humans and machines. Christina Funke, Judy Borowski, Carolina Stosio, Whelan Brandel, Tom Wallace, and Matthias Vethke eventually got published in in JOV in the special edition of Deep Neural Networks and Biological Vision special issues. I don't know if I went too fast, but for this previous paper, it got accepted at NeurIPS this year in the main conference. So again, there's been a trend of the highest rated papers eventually got published in another venue, and this is great. This is very exciting. We feel like we're contributing in a way to the community. Last but not least, kind of an interesting fun fact, paper that's transcended beyond science. I want to give a shout out to Tom White, who wrote the paper Shared Visual Abstractions from last year. And Tom is actually an artist, and most of the figures that he used in the paper and some of his work has been shown worldwide. So this is a very interesting, almost like Easter egg fun fact. You should check out his paper if you haven't yet. It's in the website for the SVRHM's last edition. So without further ado, we're going to start.